Ruben Amorim will carry out a massive clear-out at Manchester United. Real Madrid has found the perfect successor to Carlo Ancelotti. Barça is signing Milan's star forward. Saudi Arabia makes an incredible offer to Vinicius. A grand exchange between Real Madrid and Chelsea, which will surprise everyone. And this is just part of what we'll discuss today. These are the top 10 hot news stories of the hour. Are you ready? Then let's begin. Trent Alexander-Arnold contract is up in 2025, which basically makes him a free agent target next summer. And you know how Real Madrid loves a good free transfer. Remember Alaba? Well, whispers are getting louder that Los Blancos are seriously eyeing up our Trent, and some are even saying a deal could happen sooner than we think. Imagine Trent in that iconic white kit. It's almost surreal, right? Now, I'm no Sherlock, but if Trent snags a pre-contract with Madrid, it would be a huge coup for them. They've been looking for a long-term replacement for Carvajal, and Trent, in my opinion, is one of the best attacking fullbacks in the world, maybe the best. Liverpool, on the other hand, oof, replacing a player like him? Good luck with that. His passing, his vision, his dead ball deliveries. Finding another Trent is like finding a unicorn riding a bicycle. It just doesn't happen. Trent's exit is looking more likely because these contract talks have been dragging on longer. Liverpool seemingly can't lock him down. He's a Scouser through and through. He was meant to captain the Reds. This could be a real betrayal for the Anfield faithful. And here's where it gets even spicier. Apparently, Liverpool might be willing to cut their losses and accept a €50 million bid from Madrid in January. That's a lot of dough, but is it enough for a generational talent? I'm not so sure. Real Madrid's president, however, seems to be balking at that price tag. Classic Florentino Perez move, right? But here's the kicker, guys. Trent can start chatting up Real Madrid officially in January. If he hasn't signed a new deal by then, well, let's just say Liverpool will be sweating bullets. Madrid's allure is strong. It's not just about football, it's about the lifestyle, the history, the sheer glamour. Who wouldn't be tempted? Look, I'm a realist. Trent turning down multiple offers from Liverpool? That speaks volumes. He's given them trophies, he's a local lad, but something just doesn't seem right. I think, and this is just my gut feeling, he's got his eyes on the Bernabeu. It's a chance to write a new chapter, win Champions Leagues, and become a global icon. So, where do we go from here? Honestly, I think this one's going to happen. It's a sad day for Liverpool fans, but a huge win for Real Madrid. Let me know what you think in the comments below. According to Spanish journalist Jorge C. Picon, Real Madrid has already reached out to Vinicius' camp about a bumper new contract. Sounds awesome, right? But wait, there's a catch. Vinicius, even though he's super committed to Los Blancos, isn't exactly rushing to put pen to paper. Let's not forget where this kid came from. Vinicius Jr. burst onto the scene with Flamengo and joined Real Madrid way back in 2018. But it wasn't all smooth sailing at first. He had to bide his time, prove himself, and earn that spot in the starting 11. Fast forward to now, and he's become one of the most electrifying forwards in world football. But here's where things get interesting. The Saudi Pro League big spenders have been sniffing around Vinicius. And let's be real, these Saudi clubs aren't messing around. We're talking about unrejectable offers here, folks. Rumor has it that Al Ahly put together a whopping €1 billion package to try and lure him to Saudi Arabia, but Real Madrid wasn't having any of it, pointing to his release clause which matches that figure. Translation: they're not letting him go unless someone pays up. Now, back to the contract situation. Vinicius is tied down until 2027, so it's not like he's leaving tomorrow. But here's the kicker. Real Madrid were kind of banking on him winning the Ballon d'Or to smooth over any contract negotiations. I mean, who wouldn't want to keep the best player in the world, right? But then Rodri happened. The Manchester City midfielder pipped Vinicius to the award, and let's just say, Real Madrid and Vinicius weren't exactly thrilled. This snub could complicate things. Why? Because Vinicius was probably hoping to leverage that Ballon d'Or win into a bigger wage package. And now that it's off the table, who knows how he'll feel about the contract offer on the table from Real Madrid. And let's not forget the other big clubs circling. Chelsea, Manchester United and PSG are all reportedly interested. If Real Madrid drags their feet too long, who knows what might happen, especially with those Saudi offers still lingering in the background. I think Real Madrid needs to move fast and make Vinicius feel like the superstar he is. Drag this out too long, and you might just see him packing his bags for a new adventure. But if they play their cards right, we could see Vinicius terrorizing fullbacks at the Bernabeu for years to come. Do you think Vinicius will stay or go? Let's discuss. So, every year, Joan Laporta proudly goes on about how he's saving Barca's financial situation, right? According to him, the club's coffers are overflowing, expenses are practically zero, and one day, players will probably suit up for free. Just out of the sheer honor of wearing Blaugrana. Sounds great in theory, but, spoiler alert, it's all a bit of a fairy tale. Let's rewind to this past summer. Remember how İlkay Gündoğan left and then Barca signed Dani Olmo? Laporta claimed it was a sporting decision. But seriously, does anyone buy that? You don't let go of the team's top player from last season because of tactics, but it gets messier. Dani Olmo had to be registered in Andreas Christensen's place due to a supposed long-term injury. Funny thing is, Christensen's injury status was all over the place. First, it was just a couple of weeks, then suddenly he's out for months. Coincidence? Or maybe a bit of Barca's creative accounting, hoping no one would notice. Now, according to Diario Sport, Barcelona's technical team is sweating over what's coming in the January window. Christensen was promised he'd be re-registered by then, but if he gets the green light to play, guess what? Either Olmo or another new recruit, Pau Victor, could be sidelined. And let's not even get into how this affects Barca's entire game plan. The club was banking on a new fat contract with Nike to sort all this out. That contract was supposed to bring a hefty signing bonus and extra yearly revenue, allowing Barca to work out these registration issues without juggling players around like chess pieces. But, surprise, that deal has been pushed to January at the earliest. So, no new Nike money, no 60 million euros from the Libero Fund. Barca's finances are once again leaving their football side in chaos. I feel for Hansi Flick and his staff. They're doing their best with what they have, but even they need a little help from Laporta and Deco here. Olmo, who came in for 58 million euros from Leipzig, is reportedly calm and trusting the club will sort this mess out. But if I'm being honest, I'd be a bit nervous if I were him. With enough salary space to register either him or Christensen, but not both, the odds are still shaky. Laporta has made big promises before, but can he actually deliver? With January approaching fast, I'd say this Nike deal and that missing 60 million euros will be the real test. Will Barca keep pulling tricks to stay within their salary limit, or is this the beginning of yet another messy saga? Are you buying into Laporta's optimism, or is this just more smoke and mirrors? Next summer could be absolute chaos for Bayern Munich. We're talking about the potential dismantling of the squad, piece by piece, player by player. First up, Alphonso Davies. This kid's been a superstar, no doubt. But guess what? Real Madrid have lurked, and to be honest, they are confident the player will move to them. While English clubs are sniffing around, Real's just chilling like a boa constrictor, waiting to strike. They feel like they've already won the race for the Canadian fullback. Sneaky, right? Now let's talk about Leroy Sané. His contract's ticking down and crickets. No word on any new deal. Bayern's trying to get something going, but nada. According to the Christian Folk, Arsenal's got their eyes on Sané. Why? Well, Mikel Arteta's a huge fan. The two work together at Manchester City, and apparently the love affair's still burning strong. Oh, and Newcastle's interested too, but let's be real. Playing for a more ambitious team is Sané's vibe. He wants that Champions League action, minimum. But wait, there's more. Barcelona's in the mix thanks to his tight relationship with Hansi Flick, but will Barca go for Nico Williams instead? Who knows? Also, what's Sané's price tag? Can Barca even afford him? So many questions. And what about Leon Goretzka? Yeah, he might be on the move too. Manchester United sniffing around and might make a cheeky 22 million euro bid this winter. Goretzka's contract's running out, and let's just say he's not feeling the love in Munich anymore. Since Tuchel showed up, Goretzka's been riding the bench, and even with Vincent Kompany in the mix, nothing's changed. A player like Goretzka could really shine under Amorim, especially given his love for box-to-box midfielders. So what's my hot take? I think Bayern's facing a summer of tough choices. Davies to Real? Likely. Sané to Arsenal or Barca? Possible. Goretzka to Manchester United? If the price is right, absolutely. Bayern better act fast, or they'll be left picking up the pieces. Stay tuned and let me know in the comments who you think will stay or go. Real Madrid just isn't the same team we've grown accustomed to fearing. I mean, remember when teams used to shake in their boots at the mere mention of facing them? Those days seem like a distant memory now. Barcelona didn't even break a sweat in their last match. They held off Madrid for half the game, scored, and then it was like watching a house of cards come tumbling down. Madrid just couldn't handle the pressure. And that's saying something, because handling pressure used to be their bread and butter. The summer transfers have left Carlo Ancelotti scratching his head more than ever. Toni Kroos, the heart and soul of the midfield, is gone. And while Kylian Mbappé is an incredible addition, fitting him into the team has been a struggle. Bellingham's been pushed out of position, and without Kroos, the midfield has lost its maestro. It's like they've got 3 warriors ready to fight, but no one to call the shots. The balance is off, and in football, balance is everything. I've got to be honest with you, I don't see Ancelotti turning the ship around. He's a legend, no doubt, but his style just doesn't seem to fit the current squad. It's not just about tactics, it's about adapting to a new era of football. And let's face it, Ancelotti's era might be coming to a close at Madrid. So who's next? Well, there's talk about bringing in a younger coach, someone who understands the modern game. Xabi Alonso's name has been thrown around, and I've got to say, I'm a fan of that idea. He represents the new wave of coaching, focusing on attacking football that's both aggressive and smart. Plus, he's got that Real Madrid DNA, which doesn't hurt. But then there's the wild card, Zinedine Zidane. His name's popped up again, which, let's be real, is a bit of a surprise. Don't get me wrong, the man's a legend, but is it the right time for him to come back? With Mbappé in the mix, it's an interesting thought, but I'm not convinced it's the solution Madrid needs right now. Let's not forget the financial side of things. Contracts, salaries, these are the behind-the-scenes details that can make or break a team. Madrid's got to navigate these waters carefully. It's a game of chess, and right now, Madrid's king is feeling the pressure. So, where does this leave us? In my opinion, Madrid's at a crossroads. They need to rebuild, rethink their strategy, and possibly bring in fresh blood to lead the way. It's a tough pill to swallow for a team that's been at the top for so long, but it's necessary for survival. Madrid will bounce back, but it won't be easy or quick. They're in for a rough patch, but with the right moves, they'll return stronger. The question is, can they afford to wait? Only time will tell. Ruben Amorim is expected to step in, and already rumors are flying about some major lineup overhauls. Now, when we say overhauls, we mean possible player sales, including some of Ten Hag's own summer signings. Yeah, players barely even got their feet wet in the Premier League, and now they're back on the chopping block. It's like Ten Hag laid out a new vision just to see Amorim toss it out the window. Now, according to reports, Amorim does have faith in Marcus Rashford and plans to build around him. But let's be real, does that make sense? Rashford's been around forever, yet we're still asking, when will he really step up? Kinda like Ten Hag himself, right? Plenty of potential, but where are the results? And here's a kicker. Rashford reportedly wants out. He's not impressed with United's ambition or lack thereof. So while Amorim's banking on Rashford's talent, Rashford's already eyeing the exit door. Sounds like a mess, right? Then there's Amorim himself. This guy's being hyped as the Portuguese Erik ten Hag. He's young, yes, he's fresh, but can he handle the massive pressure of Old Trafford? The press and I have our doubts. It's one thing to manage Sporting Lisbon. It's another beast entirely to manage United, especially with the stormy clouds hanging over Old Trafford right now. And speaking of former United managers, let's talk about Ten Hag's reaction to his sacking. According to Ruud van Nistelrooy, Ten Hag took it hard. Here's what Van Nistelrooy shared with Goal. I saw him that day. He was disappointed and emotional because he genuinely cares about the club. Ten Hag poured his heart into United, and even if he left with a cool 20 million severance, it clearly stung. He even flew straight to his parents. Quite a move, right? But hey, if nothing else, he can be proud of those 2 trophies. He'll probably be reminiscing about them for years. Now back to Amorim. He's already hinting at big changes, including a back 3 formation. Will it work? Maybe. But imagine trying to teach a new formation to a squad that's already lacking in cohesion. Some key players like Rashford and Garnacho might thrive in this setup, but it's still a big ask. And then there's the whole ambition thing that Rashford was griping about. Can Amorim really light a fire under this squad? And then there's Jamie Carragher, who weighed in on Sky Sports. He's got a bit more optimism than me, saying, it's a huge job for him. It's a journey to get to the top. Carragher's basically saying that Amorim has to make this leap, just like Sir Alex did from Aberdeen. But of course, Carragher also thinks managing United will be like landing in a whole new stratosphere for Amorim. Look, if Amorim manages to sort out this squad and put United on track, I'll be the first to admit I was wrong, but right now I'm skeptical. In my opinion, Van Nistelrooy would have been the safer choice, with more experience handling big egos and tough crowds. Amorim's stepping into a pressure cooker, and history tells us that not every young, promising coach can handle the heat. What do you think? Can he prove us all wrong? let's see if the Portuguese Ten Hag can pull off a miracle. Rafael Leão's days at Milan might be numbered, and honestly, it's getting messy. Reports out of Italy say the Portuguese winger, Milan's top earner mind you, might be on his way out. Why? Well, Leão's not seeing eye to eye with his compatriot and new boss, Paulo Fonseca. Word is they've got beef. They've been trying to smooth things over, but Milan's patience may be running thin. Here's where it gets interesting. Barcelona is watching this whole soap opera with popcorn in hand, and they're ready to pounce if things get worse. Now, Barca's been eyeing Leão for a while, especially after the Nico Williams move didn't happen. But here's the catch. Milan slapped a whopping €175 million release clause on Leão. Barcelona can't dream of paying that with their financial situation. Even Joan Laporta, who's got a serious soft spot for Leão, knows it's impossible, unless Milan's ready to negotiate. And let's not forget, Leão is under contract until 2028. Milan went all in on him, thinking he was their future. But if Leão really wants out, this could go down fast. Milan's benching him more often than not. He's only started 3 of their 9 Serie A games this season. And while Fonseca says there's no conflict, it's not exactly all roses either. Fonseca's exact words were, "There is no conflict with Leão. I decide as coach, and everyone has to give their maximum. I don't have to beg anyone." Translation? Fonseca wants Leão to stop sulking and start playing ball, literally. Meanwhile, Barca's working on their plan B, a potential player plus cash deal involving Ansu Fati. That's right, Ansu, who's had a rocky time in Barcelona lately, could be part of this swap. But as of now, both clubs are only testing the waters. So what do I think? If Leão's situation at Milan doesn't turn around, we might see him in Blaugrana colours by next summer. Barcelona's in need of a reliable left winger, and Leão could be a perfect fit if the price is right. But unless Milan's willing to negotiate, don't expect a miracle in January. Still, if you're a Barca fan, it's a good time to keep an eye on Milan's lineup decisions and hope this Fonseca-Leão rift doesn't get patched up too soon. Real Madrid are keeping an eye on Enzo Fernandez. Yep, the same Enzo who was supposed to be the next big thing at Stamford Bridge. But, oh boy, has the tune changed. So here's the deal. Enzo, bless his heart, has hit a rough patch, both on and off the pitch. The guy's going through a divorce, and let's be real, that emotional toll is no joke. It's no wonder he hasn't been at his best lately. Chelsea boss Enzo Maresca has even benched him for the last 2 Premier League games, and despite starting in the Carabao Cup against Newcastle, whispers suggest he might get the boot again for the Man United clash. Now, Real Madrid, being the opportunists they are, see this as their chance to pounce. And get this, they're willing to throw in Aurélien Tchouaméni as a sweetener. Yep, the same Tchouaméni who was a hot prospect not too long ago. Madrid are basically saying, hey Chelsea, how about a swap? Why would Chelsea bite? Well, they've already splashed over £1 billion since Todd Bowley took over. Yeah, you heard that right, £1 billion, and Enzo was one of their priciest signings. But let's be honest, form is temporary and class is permanent, but Chelsea might just be willing to cut their losses. Remember when Real Madrid pulled off that cheeky Gareth Bale for Tottenham deal? They're not strangers to blockbuster swaps. So, offering Tchouaméni to lower Fernandez's price tag? Classic Madrid tactics. On the one hand, Real Madrid's midfield could definitely use some fresh legs, especially with Enzo's high-pressure style. On the other hand, is Enzo really worth €100 million right now? I mean, the guy's struggling, but Carlo Ancelotti seems to think he can revive Enzo's mojo. Apparently, Chelsea have had their eye on Tchouaméni before, so this deal could actually make sense for both sides. Plus, imagine the salary relief for Chelsea without Enzo's hefty paycheck. Win-win, right? But wait, there's more. Fichajes dropped this bombshell, but let's not forget, they're not always spot on. Still, Real's interest isn't far-fetched, especially with Enzo previously linked to Barcelona. I think if Real Madrid play their cards right, this could be a game changer for both clubs. Enzo gets a fresh start, and Chelsea, well, they get Tchouaméni, who's no slouch himself. Milan Skriniar could be packing his bags in January, not even 2 years since his dream move to PSG. Juventus is reportedly rolling out the red carpet for the Slovak defender. Yeah, that's right. Juve wants Skriniar to fill the gap left by Gleison Bremer, who's been sidelined for the season after an ACL injury against Leipzig. So, we're looking at a potential return to Serie A and maybe, just maybe, a fresh start for Skriniar. Now some might ask, why would Skriniar leave PSG so soon? And honestly, it's not hard to see why. He's barely getting minutes in Paris, just 201 this season, across a couple of starts and one lonely sub-appearance. With Luis Enrique at the helm, Skriniar's mostly warming the bench, and he's not thrilled about it. Makes you wonder if this move was all it was cracked up to be. Here's where things get interesting. PSG could be willing to let him go on loan, with Juve pushing hard for a deal, and it's clear why they're interested. This guy has been one of Serie A's most rock-solid centre-backs during his time at Inter, even if his final season there was more drama than football. Remember the summer of 2022? PSG wanted him, Inter tried to extend his contract, but the whole thing dragged on until he finally walked for free. Oh, and let's not forget the salary. Skriniar is on about 10 million euros a year at PSG. That's a steep price tag for any club, especially one like Juve, who's not exactly splashing cash these days. If Juve gets this deal done, they'll likely ask PSG to chip in on those wages. Skriniar to Juve could actually work. The guy knows Serie A inside out, and with his physical style, he'd be a perfect fit for Thiago Motta's setup. But don't expect the Juve fans to throw a welcome party just yet. After all, he's got 6 years in Inter colours behind him. So, what's it gonna be? A smooth return? Or are we in for some drama? Let me know in the comments if you think Skriniar's got it in him to make this switch work, or if this is just a step in the wrong direction. Remember Jurgen Klopp, the Liverpool legend? Well, he's back in the football world. Nope, he's not managing a team. Instead, he's trading the sidelines for a big ol' office as the global head of Red Bull's football division. Now, if you're a fan of Mainz or Borussia Dortmund, Klopp's old stomping grounds, you're probably feeling a bit betrayed. I get it. Fans are throwing some major shade his way, calling him a sellout and saying he's gone over to the dark side. After all, didn't Klopp used to hate the idea of multi-club ownership? Didn't he once call himself a football romantic who loved the traditional side of the game? Well, here he is, working with RB Leipzig, the club that's about as traditional as a can of energy drink. But wait, Klopp's got something to say about it. Here's what he himself said about it. I didn't mean to step on anyone's toes, not at all. I love all my former clubs, but I don't know what I could have done to make everyone happy. Fair point, Jurgen. You can't please everyone, right? On the one hand, you've got fans crying betrayal because Leipzig basically bends the rules with the 50+1 rule, making them look more like a corporate puppet than a real club. I mean, they've got fewer than 20 members, and they're all Red Bull employees. But on the other hand, Klopp's just chilling, living his best life, free from the stress of screaming at refs on the sidelines. Oh, and get this, he recently popped up on Toni Kroos' podcast. The topic? His new gig, of course. Klopp defended the Leipzig project, saying, "I've always had a positive attitude toward this project." But the real spicy moment came when Toni asked about Sergio Ramos. Klopp didn't hold back. People say he acted smartly, but he couldn't have been unaware that he would injure Salah's shoulder. And yet he did it. I'll never understand that mentality. So, what's the verdict? I think Klopp's just doing his thing, following his path, and maybe, just maybe, this is the start of something big for Red Bull. But will it tarnish his legacy? Time will tell.